Hello to everybody watching. I'm in my office making this video as it's been a rainy morning across my territory once again. Thankfully, I've been able to get out in the country the last 3 days and just check things out from the standpoint of crop conditions and plant health in general. I'm very pleased with our overall plant health and root development in the saturated soils and the lower GDU days that we've experienced here over the last 3 to 4 weeks. And I would say it really took me getting out to the fields this week and digging some plants to really be able to say that, because driving by, just like a lot of you, things have just been very small, look pale. But there's no question with, you could see the difference just from yesterday, from a full day of sunshine, what that's done just from our crop. But you know the conditions have been tough when weeds haven't been growing much either. And I think that just goes to show the conditions we've had, how challenging it's been when your weeds, your broadleaves and grasses aren't growing much either. So a couple things I've noticed, as I did see some potential potassium deficiencies early, but that plant was able to access that the next collar leaf up. But the last thing I did want to make a comment on, that really spend the rest of the time of this video on, was really any in-season nitrogen two-approach plans or a potential nitrogen application that maybe wasn't planned. So for those of you that have been putting nitrogen on all up front, you know, I would just say, depending on your rainfall that you've had and what your yield goal is, you know, now's the time to start thinking about, do I need to do that? Whereas some of you may already been planning a second shot, and my comment to you is, now it's time to make sure and start planning that as well. And so in those conversations, depending on when you planted and what your yield targets are, I would just say that to start having that conversation with your sales agronomist and supplier. Normally, I would say we want to start getting, you know, nitrogen on that V8 to V10 standpoint. And I really think in the next 2 weeks, it's going to be time to start running and getting that nitrogen on our crop. So that way, with the mindset that we can get the nitrogen in the soil. So that way, when our crop really ramps up and starts utilizing more nitrogen in that V10 to V12 standpoint, the nitrogen is there. The other couple things I've been talking to people about this week is, anytime I talk about an in-season nitrogen application, I'm always going to recommend some sort of nitrogen stabilizer, if possible, with that application, along with, if you have the opportunity, to look at putting in some sulfur as well. And so I know there's going to be a lot of things going on over the next month once it dries up, with finishing soybean burn downs and in-season applications, corn posting, nitrogen applications on our corn. So my whole point in this video is really just to make sure that right now, while it's slow, to start taking time working with your sales agronomist, you know, what that plan is from the standpoint of, if I'm going to put nitrogen on in season and how much, and starting to get those acres lined up. And so in general, when I have this type of conversation, you know, there's some things that I always want to find out in regards to, you know, what's your yield goal? How much nitrogen do you have down when you applied that pre-plant nitrogen rate? But in general, or on average, you know, an in-season nitrogen application, you're going to hear me talk around that 30 to 60 units, and then potentially 10 to 15 pounds of sulfur. So that's kind of my sweet spot after asking some questions. So with that, like I said, I hope this video finds everyone well. I'm sure everybody's patiently waiting to try to get back whatever that activity is. If it's finishing planting, posting corn, posting soybeans. But I did want to get this out here with a little bit of a crop date, what I saw this week, which I felt was very positive for the conditions that we're in, and just really to try to make myself available if you guys want to talk to me about any of those things in regards to what's going on out in the cornfield from a growth and development stage, and then as far as thinking through a nitrogen application that we want to start getting lined up here pretty quick. So with that, thanks for taking the time watching this morning. And like I said, if you have any questions or like to talk to me, please feel free to give me a call or talk to your sales agronomist. Thank you.